I could feel the tears running down my face. The only thing that gave me some relief was the children were playing in the underground playroom, and none of them so far seemed to be showing any symptoms. Sophia and Gretel were watching them. Was this contagious? Would the children be next, or Sophia or Gretel? I had heard of other herds being wiped out by disease, and we were preparing for so much. Lavender is my deepest friend here. What would I do without her? I couldn't even fathom it. And Abel, we had grown up together. He was as deep as any friend could be. How could we lose even one of them? We just couldn't. I tried to calm my mind on it as Colt took my hand in his, but he was silent as we walked the tunnels. Everyone was up top, so the smell was nearly gone already. We went to the room they were set up in. Firefly was washing their faces. Books were open. We were the only ones in the room. Everyone else was somewhere else, but I couldn't think on it right now. Lavender looked so pale, more so than usual. Abel, the tower of a man, perfectly built, looked so weak and frail, like made of paper, but his body was rigid like a rock, while Lavender's was calm, almost peaceful looking. Firefly finally sat in a chair, letting out a breath. Colt waited patiently as she wiped her brow. I came slightly forward. Is it contagious? But Colt answered for her. No. Then my next question, they will get better, won't they? Colt looked to Firefly. We don't know. Perhaps Abel. I gasped, shaking my head. Putting my hand to my mouth, tears fell as Colt held to me. What happened? I finally managed to get out. Colt's face was one of sorrow, but calmer than I could ever manage. It's the nanos. Firefly, will you explain it to her? He cleared his throat, clearly holding back his own tears. Firefly nodded. She was hating on herself. I could see it in her face and her voice. I rechecked their glass slides. I should have seen it the first time. I blame myself for not seeing it. There were so many signs that I just didn't put together. But now it makes sense. Abel and Lavender were both very much anemic, but I wasn't looking for that. I was too worried about blood types, but it was there clearly in front of my eyes. Why didn't I see it? She let out another sigh. The cider gave the nanos a fury of energy and awoke in Abel, all because of the amount he drank. They were staying somewhat stasis, only collecting iron to survive. And the way he ate gave him enough iron to supply them, keeping them controlled. It was like the perfect yin to yang. He gave them just enough energy to sustain themselves, but not harm him because they were in stasis. It's a marvel he lived this long with them. As for Lavender, her blood type can't support them either, being that they only started going into her some 3 years ago, perhaps even after that. The iron was enough to do the same for her, but to replicate this scenario would be astronomical. Most of the nanos would leave her, going into her children. So, more than likely, they have them as well, but the cider made them ravage her. But something unexpected has happened, something beyond my full understanding. I looked to her, my stomach sick. What? Firefly took a moment in thought before speaking. Remember how I said they are self-preserving? I nodded. Well, Abel managed something. Apparently, Lavender was the first to fall. Abel picked her up. He somehow had put it together in his mind so quickly what was happening, and somehow without my help to know how, he drew them into a pocket of her body, keeping them from major organs. But it takes a lot of strength to do this for mere minutes, but he has been doing it this whole time, and it's causing him great harm to do so. The nanos are not easy to control. He is bursting veins and damaging his muscles, including his heart. Colt looked to them. Can we get the upgrades for them? Firefly looked to them as well. There isn't that much time. It would take years to truly get enough out of Lavender and Abel, and if I were to open Lavender to get them out, they would disperse, and Abel can't hold them past that, and she would die very, very quickly. Right now, only a few are in her bloodstream, causing less damage, but, well, they can still kill her just more slowly. I wiped the tears from my eyes. There has to be something. Can you move them too? I looked to her. I can only do it for an hour at most, but to them, no. There is something in the way, something blocking my connection to them, it seems. For some reason, Henry and Colt seem to be able to do it, but once self-preservation is turned on, they are much harder to control by anyone. I looked to her. But killing Lavender will kill them, don't they understand? Firefly sighed. They know her blood cannot sustain them, but if her body dies, they see it as they can return to the original host once the body decays enough. They give a final push to find their host. I looked to her with anger. Why would you make something like this? It's evil. I looked to her, waiting for an answer. I I couldn't hear it. Never meant, well, for something that was never meant to hurt anyone, it has hurt a lot of people, my family. Now you need to fix this. I don't care how, don't you dare let them die. I pulled from Colt's hold, leaving the room, going to ours. I cried till there was nothing left in me. I felt so numb about it, and I had such anger growing in me. Colt was gone for some time. I looked to him as he opened the door. First, he assured me nothing greatly had changed. I took a breath, then I asked, "The children, will they be all right?" Colt nodded. "They were never in danger, at least they are on the cider." I sat still on our bed. "Then why is Abel not waking up?" Colt sat beside me. "Because he refuses to leave her side. He doesn't want to leave her alone in the darkness." I looked to Colt. "Do you mean they are in that world of yours or whatever it is?" Colt swallowed. "They are seeing things different than I do. From what I can understand of their descriptions, it's not orbs or fires. Perhaps why Abel couldn't see it, but they can't describe it either to us. But I can see them in mine. I can't communicate that well. It's like static with them. Abel is taking everything to keep her safe. He can listen, but talking, it's all a blur to me. Henry, though, he can, and Abel and Lavender have been flooding his mind with their worries about their children. And what they like, and what to tell them when they pass. They asked him to tell us to take care of them as our own." I looked to Colt. "They can't die." I began to cry again. My lungs were burning. Colt had tears in his eyes, slowly falling. "I know, but I am at a loss on what to do. And we are losing needed time. My mind has run every possibility I can think of to Firefly, but none of them are capable of saving them both." Colt put his hand to his eyes. "Today I feel so useless. What can I do for them, my brother, my sister? Nothing." I took a breath, now holding to him. "Colt, you didn't create this problem." Colt looked to me slightly. "Neither did Firefly." I looked to him. "But she made them, created these horrible cursed things." Colt shook his head. "Can a bone not be made into a weapon?" I looked to him oddly. "What do you mean?" Colt spoke again. "Can a medicine not heal and if used wrong, kill?" I didn't care about metaphors at the moment as he continued. "Don't you see? They were made for one person to stop Harlts. If they would have been used right, well, we would be living in a different world. It was my mother who used them wrongly to make herself a handful of hosts. Can you imagine the damage she could have done with Abel's body, even for a short time that she would have had it? The nanos were always meant for Firefly, and yes, perhaps she should have let my mother get rid of me instead of trying to help. Perhaps then you would be in a different world than you know now." I took his hand. "I would never have wanted that." He looked to me. "I know, my Snowfeather, but you can't have it both ways. I have great angers toward Firefly for it all as well, but adding the extra stress of it to her will blur her mind. So I understand your feelings on it as well. You needed to speak your words to her. I wish the nanos were never created, but they were, and as much bad they are doing, there has been some good. We have what we need to stop Harlts, all of them. We just have to do it. But first we have to stop Threepwood, the one that can unlock how to protect Harlts." Colt took a breath. "I wanted you to know how things are for now. Why don't you go looking on the children? Lavender wants you to." I nodded, cleaning my face off with my shirt. "All right," and so I did. I went to the playroom. I stayed for some time hugging on Reem, Sophia reading a book to her. After, I looked to their triplets. They looked so much like them both, it almost hurt more to see them. I patted our youngest foal's hair, kissing his head. Lyra was asleep. I kept running over everything in my mind that happened to her. How was Colt's mother able to move to her? How did she manage it? Could it help Lavender? Her hands were cut by bars. She didn't have cider. What was her secret to it all? For once, I could say in all honesty, I wish I could speak with her. But from the corner of thought, I heard Gretel ask Sam to take off his dirty old boots so she could buff and clean them. He kept yelling no as he went to a corner of the room. She was going toward him to get them herself as I looked to her. "Gretel, I will handle this. You can help with the other two." Gretel looked to me. "I think you will have a handful with this one." I smiled. "He's still trying to remember things. Give him time." Sophia and Gretel didn't ask on Abel or Lavender directly, knowing it would cause Reem to be upset, so I told them nothing had changed on anything in my own way. I went to Sam in the corner, curled. As he saw me get near, he stood, running to me, giving me a hug. "It's all right. Why don't you come with me for a while?" I took him by the hand, taking him to a room of his own. Our room was much too dangerous with the hot springs. I wasn't sure if he knew how to swim yet. The room I picked for him was next door. It was small, but it would keep him away from Gretel. For the time being, she was always changing clothes for the children, and he would be no exception. He looked to me. "Have you been crying, Mommy? You look sad." I nodded. "Yes, I'm sad. My friends are sick." "You hungry?" He nodded as I went to a small fridge. It was stocked because of the undergrounding of the women. Usually there was little in them. I got him a cup of milk. Did I make them sick?" I looked to him. "You know, you're a healthy little boy. You didn't make anyone sick?" "But I heard Sophia say—" I patted his head. "Don't mind what she says. She's just worried for her friends, too." "People say silly things sometimes when they're worried, understand?" He nodded as I turned to get him a snack. I heard the cup fall on the floor, shattering, but it might as well have been me. I turned. He looked worried to me. "I'm sorry, Mommy. I didn't mean to." I sighed. "It's okay. I always say accidents happen." "You sit still while I clean it up. I don't want you getting cut." I got him a new cup of milk, then started the cleaning. Luckily, each room had a broom and sponge mop. I picked up a few large pieces, then started sweeping up into a dustpan some of the milk and shards. I didn't want to get them in the mop. Once it was all up for the most part, I put the mop in the milk. It soaked it up like nothing. I looked to it. If only the nanos could be sponged up somehow. I looked to Sam as I finished cleaning it up. "I'll be back soon, okay? There are some books you can read if you want over there and some paper and pencil to draw with." He nodded as he held to his glass. I went over to our room. Colt was still there. "Can you do something for me?" Colt looked up from the floor heavily as he sat on the edge of our bed. "What?" I rubbed a tear from my eye. "Can you look for your mother?" Colt seemed shocked but barely moved. His back became arched and still. "Why?" I sat beside him. "I think maybe she can help." Colt softened slightly. "How could she? Why would she? You know her as I do. Nothing with her is free. What do we have to offer her?" I sighed. "I don't know, but I realized she cut herself with metal." "She didn't have any cider. Yes, she was able to move to another's body, but not through blood. She has the answers. I know she does." Colt thought a moment, then he nodded. "I'll see if I can find her. We can go from there." Colt closed his eyes and I held my breath. Finally, he opened his eyes. "She wants to only speak to you on it." "But how can I speak to her? The nanos in me are dormant. She should know that." Colt sighed. "She has a way." I looked to him oddly, but then I heard her voice, and I was transported to a garden where I saw Lavender sitting and crying. I ran over to her. "Lavender!" I touched her shoulder. She looked up to me as I helped her stand. She hugged me around the neck strongly. "Oh, Viddy, where am I? What's happening?" I looked around. I don't know. I was going to speak with Colt's." Then I stood back to see Lavender turn into Colt's mother. She smiled her caddish grin. As she went over to a tree swing, sitting herself down. That was rather enjoyable. I went over toward her. "How are you doing this?" She kept smiling. "Oh, I had many years of practice, but I'm only able to turn on nanos in you for a small time, and with one goes to stasis, I can turn on another. But not for long, and my time with you is short, so let's get down to business. You want to save your dear friends. Why should I help you with that? I already have me a nice new body, if you're wondering on it, so I am not in need of it, and I doubt there's anything else you have to offer. I would actually want nor trust you to give." I looked to her. "I thought on it, and you are right. I don't have anything me or Colt could actually offer you, but there may be one thing you would wish for, but it's not a material thing." She smiled slightly less. "And here I thought you would be offering up the herd or a child. But I will hear you out unless I get bored with it all." I rubbed my eyes slightly. They were itchy. "Well, you see, we have all been trying to think on how to save them, and we just can't figure it out, but you do know how to save them, don't you?" She nodded slightly as she began to swing. Each time she swung, the garden would turn from beautiful to darkness itself. I continued. "Well, by saving Lavender and Abel, I figure you get two things out of it. One is saving your son and his wife, both capable of making you more hosts. Not that we would allow it, but you could still try, and he is your son after all." She kicked her feet gracefully in the air. "I'm getting bored." I spoke more quickly now. "But the second thing is what I think you would enjoy the most. You would have the knowledge that you are so much more powerful than all of us put together, for we have no clue on how to do it without you. And in that, you would always be over us."